Good morning and welcome. It is a pleasure and honor to be here in Fresno, California. Do me a favor, give yourselves a round of applause for being here with me today. Awesome. We are here in the beautiful valley in Fresno, California at a salon that I am proud and honored to be in. George Garcia happens to be, as you all know, one of the top colorists in Redken, and it is a pleasure and honor to be here in his salon. Do me a favor, let's thank George Garcia. Welcome, George Garcia. How you doing, brother?
Good man.
George, thank you so much for allowing us to come in and actually do part of the Aspire Tour here in the loft, George Garcia.
Beautiful, man. It's our pleasure to have you here.
Well, listen, I'm excited about you because you're actually going to be the featured colorist. The first colorist on the Aspire Tour is George Garcia. At the end of the day, you're actually going to see the color that George is going to recommend for the shape that you're going to be doing. So how awesome is that? Give it up for George.
Yeah, you guys excited about that?
Yeah.
No, Fresno, are you excited about that? Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
Here's what I love, though, George, is that you're actually going to be sharing with our Aspire Tour viewers a pattern for the color on the cut that we're going to do, correct?
We're going to take the shape that you guys are going to be learning, and we're going to give it a voice.
Awesome. We'll see George at the end of the day. One more time for George Garcia.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, brother. All right, so let's get started. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to be walking through a haircut that's relatively short. I believe that short hair is the new long. What I'm going to recommend to you today, in order to maximize your learning, let go. I'm not here, my friends, number one, to say that I'm better than you. I am not here to say what's right and what's wrong. I am just here to inspire you to change the way that you do things. I firmly believe that the clients that walk into the loft at George Garcia, they're looking for a new experience. There are a lot of alternative things going out in the world today. People are coming in, they're looking for the new experience. The new experience is going to be the way you're going to cut this and the way you're going to blow dry it. Because they're going to experience the blow dry as you go through the haircut, rather than cutting the hair and then blow drying at the end. There's 4 simple steps in this haircut. I believe that our guests want in and they want out. Gone are the days of taking 3-4 hours to do a highlight. Gone are the days of taking an hour to do a haircut. Those days are gone. But yet they're looking for customer service and quality of service. So this haircut I'm going to teach you can take 15 to 20 minutes to do. But the idea is to maximize your booking time. Maximize it. And I'm going to share with you some ideas on how you can maximize your booking time. And you'll see as we go along. So now, that being said, are you ready to see what we're going to cut?
Yes.
Well, some of you are. Are you ready to see what we're going to cut?
Yes.
All right, give me a drum roll. Come on, drum roll. Here she comes. There she is. Now, when you look at this, you're thinking, wow, check that out. Look at the degree of shortness that it has. Now, when you look at it, it basically looks like it might blend. But when I move this, look at the disconnection it has. So you can see the disconnection, how it has these pieces to it. These pieces that you see here in terms of what they do. Look at the sense of frothiness that you can get, the sense of volume. My friends, this may look like it was cut with a razor, but it was cut all blunt. Just working with your scissor. Watch this. Here's what's so cool about this. Remember I was talking to you about versatility and how versatility is really amazing. Simply taking Wool Shake from Urban Experiment, and I'm simply going to mist. And now watch the texture and the frothiness just start to happen. And you can just start to see how you can change the texture of something being smooth and sleek, like what we talked about in terms of what's the buzz. Product is not an option, it is a necessity. In order for me to get the end result, we have to know it's not an option, it is a necessity. Now watch how pliable this is. So we can take it, we can do this with it, kick that out, so it does this, the sense of frothiness. And remember, working with Redken Wool Shake Urban Experiment. Awesome in the way it works. All right, you ready to learn? Yes. Awesome. I'm going to pass her around. Okay, sorry, ladies first. We'll go over to Leah. All right, so now the first thing we're going to do, my friends, is we're going to get the sectioning. Now, for the sake of time, I pre-sectioned my top. Take a look at this. Okay, so what I've simply done is right from the corner of the eye, vertical with my comb. Where it touches is where I'm going to start that insertion of my comb. I'm going to slightly arc that, bringing it to center back. Locate center back. You're going to go about a ½ inch wide, all the way to center back, ½ inch in center, carving it back out, arcing it all the way to the back. So it has a little bit more teardrop, where it's narrow here and wider as it gets to the front. Now, before we get into blow dry, I just want to share something that's very exciting to me at the moment. That's the Redken Heat Styling Collection. In that collection, you're going to see 6 products in a new packaging, metallic blush and color. Awesome. First, we have satinware. Then we have fabricate, spray starch, and hot sets. And 2 new products that have become my favorite. Iron Silk, control of 7, humidity resistant and thermal protective. Great when I'm working with my flat iron, also with my curling iron. Gives a great high shine. Then Blown Away, control of 9. Imagine that. A protective gel. These 2 products have become my favorite, and I know that you're going to like them. Let's get back to the class. Because we're going to be blow drying as we go, I'm going to take some of our Satinware 02. And by the way, I am very, very happy to say that Allure magazine, the Best of Beauty contest, they took over 2,500 products and they tested them to find out what was the best. And Redken Satinware 02 won for the ultimate blow dry lotion that it is. How cool is that? And another one of our products, the Redken for Men Mint Clean Invigorating Shampoo, that one also won. 2 great products. Watch how we're going to use satinware. We're going to take our water bottle. We're going to open this up. We're going to take satinware. We're going to drop about 4 drops of satinware inside of the water bottle. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I've just made is what we call satin water. Now here's why. Because I'm blow drying as I go. That's why I'm making it. All right, so when you're going to moisten with your satin water. Only because we're blow drying as we go. Okay? You're going to keep this haircut nice and moist. It's going to keep it that way for the control. Once we've done that, we're going to come through the back area now. And here's what I want you to do with the back area. You're going to open up your thumb. Do this for me. From your knuckle to the point of your thumb, that's 1 inch, generally speaking. Okay, so once we have this area, I'm going to place my knuckle at the corner of that. At the point of the corner, right here where my thumb is, I'm going to draw a diagonal line to approximately the center of the ear. Okay, so we're going to take this line. We're going to isolate the front. So we take this area and we isolate this area. And remember, how much above this is it? 1 inch. Measured by your what? Thumb. By your thumb. I want you to stay in control. Isolate these sections. Keep them nice in control. So you will be using clips. Come off to the opposite side. Comb this hair down. From the corner of that turn, knuckle. Now I go diagonal to the middle of the ear, approximately middle. Now you don't need to be precise as long as you're close, guys. Okay, I'm going to drop back, check my angle. I'm going to go just slightly, a little bit steeper to match that opposite side. And now isolate the left side. Okay, so we isolate here. Now the top area, I'm going to come back to my top area and we're going to divide that into 2 areas. We're going to divide that into the top and the crown area. So we have our 2 sides. Here's your sectioning. It looks like this, so you can follow me now. Okay, so what we've done is we've isolated the red area. We've isolated the green area. Now we're going to isolate the black and the blue area. When you isolate this area, I want you to be aware that you're going to go right at the top of the ear. Where are you going to go? So I'm going to look for the top of the ear, right at the top of the ear, and I'm going to go from top of the ear to top of the ear on the top area. So I want to take your head down for me, please. Thank you. Now I'm going to look for that top area. So I come through, top of the ear to top of the ear. We'll separate front to back on the top. This what we will consider this back area on the top. We're going to isolate this now. Okay, do me a favor, don't go so far back. Please check and make sure you're right at the top of the ear. Isolate this area. Now we have the front area. I isolate this. So I have the front top, the back, left side, right side, and the entire back area. Okay, so we're here. And this gets isolated. What questions or concerns do you have? All right, you can do this, yes? Yes. All right, give me a hand up in the air. Give me a big yes on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes! Yes! Okay, off you go to the do area to do this. All right, my friends, now we've just had an opportunity to see how the sectioning is done. Now, let's go watch the stylist do the sectioning, and let's all learn together. Let's take a look at David. All right, great point, David, where you started at. That's looking really good, okay, right there. Vertical, vertical, all right? Love that point there. Now, the next thing is we're gonna go with our thumb. We're gonna get that. Let's see you do that, okay? Execute that for me, all right? Excellent. Good. Now, here's what he did. Remember, knuckle to thumb, that's critical. All right, so look at that. Now we go diagonal forward to about the approximate middle of the ear. Excellent. Now what we've got to do is balance one side to the opposite side. Real simple. So now David's going to isolate that right side. So you can start to see him isolating the right side. Now we're going to come over to the left side. So now we're going to see him isolate that left side. Beautiful. Now balance is really a key on this haircut. So I want you to make sure that you take the time for the sectioning. Get your proper sectioning, isolate, and check your balance. Looking good, David? Excellent. All right. Now, the last thing I want David to do is, I want you to go from top of the ear, David, to top of the ear. You're going to isolate your back and isolate your front. Okay. Give me 5. Good job, my friend. Good job. Keep working. All right, let's check carry out. Nice. Now, every one of these sections, it's a little bit, you can vary these a little bit. So, for example, look how high carry is. Can you imagine if the hair was really, really thick hair? Then we would want to go higher. If it was fine hair, then I want to drop this line lower. Does that make sense, guys? Why? Somebody tell me why.
You're taking too much out. If it's higher, then they'll have less hair.
Excellent. So remember that. The thicker the hair is, the higher I'll go. Why? Because you're taking the underneath out. The finer it is, then the lower we will go. Okay? Nice diagonal forward section. Now, middle of the ear, she's up above it. I like that. So you can see how you can vary this just a little bit. Looking good on this side. Check her balance. That's looking great. She's got the back area and the top area. Give me some. Good girl. All right. Let's check this table out. Let's see how our friends are doing here. Excellent. Now remember, Nicole, make sure you keep your sectioning nice and clean, nice and neat. Why? Because of the way we're going to be cutting this. I want to make sure that you stay. Sectioning today is so critical. It is so critical. Why? Because of the way we're disconnecting these haircuts. So you have to be aware of how you're sectioning these. So critical. Stay in control. Gone are the days of me not sectioning. That's why you're seeing a number of clips here to isolate a number of areas. And it's all about the disconnection story. Remember, disconnection. We made a statement saying disconnection is the strongest element of design today. Okay, we're going to isolate this area. Excellent, Nicole. Beautiful. I'm checking her front. Look at this. Perfect. Right at the top of the ear, front, back, diagonal forward, front, back, diagonal forward, left side. Great job. Give it up for Nicole. Nice job, Nicole. All right. Can you see how your hand tells you where the head changes directions? What I want you to do, my friends, is make sure you check out chrisbarron.com. The Principles of Finishing, The Fuel for Design. It is an awesome DVD. Go to this website, check it out. That will teach you where the head form changes directions. All about head form, principles of movement. Check it out. Great job, my friend. Diagonal forward, great balance. Only thing I'm going to ask you to do is divide that top. Remember, top of the ear. Side to side, gives you that back area and the top area. Give me a little bit more cleanliness in your isolation. Now you can see how critical sectioning is today. Let's go together and take a look and see how step 1 is done. Remember, mistakes are okay. It's a great way to learn. We're going to start into this back area that we have that's left down. We're going to take vertical sections starting in the center. Okay, so we're going to take a vertical section just left of center and a vertical section right of center. Okay, our elevation is going to be horizontal, 90, so you can see all that hair is elevated. Watch this. My elevation, I'm not going to drop it down diagonal. I'm going to keep it elevated horizontally throughout the entire step 1. So that you're able to see, I'm going to take this excess hair and I'm going to get this hair out of the way for you. And I'm just going to clip this down. I want to be able to see this line. Okay, we'll take this side and we'll clip this side down. Please do this with every section you take as you're cutting step 1 for the sake of control and for the sake of consistency. Now I'm going to take my center vertical section. My finger angle, what kind of line do you see there?
Diagonal.
Diagonal. Thank you, David. See how my finger angle is going diagonal. Where do you see the length? On the top or the bottom? Top. On the top. Excellent. Thank you, No-Go. So you want your length diagonal going in. Okay, so my elevation is, keep the head straight up for me, please. Remember, Erica, you move, I make a big mistake. Hold your head still. Okay, there, horizontal, and my finger angle is diagonal. Look how sometimes I'll use my comb to keep it into my finger angle so I can see the extension of that line. And I want you to take this short, guys. Don't leave it long. So I come through, make my cut. I'm going to actually take mine shorter. Okay, elevation horizontal, finger angle on the diagonal. So that's the line. Now watch this. From there, this diagonal forward line that you have towards the ear is going to become the sectioning that we're going to take from this point forward. So I'm going to start to pivot my section. Once I pivot that first section, we stay there. Everything stays parallel to that. The position and the finger angle that you're cutting remain the same all the way through. This is a visual guideline for you. So now watch. It's critical that you understand your elevation is going to be important, your over direction is going to be important, and your finger angle. All the principles of the movement are going to apply to what it is you're doing in this section. I'm going to get this hair out of the way. My first section. Notice how I will take this section and you will comb from underneath. So I'm combing from this section. I'm combing from underneath. Why? Can anybody tell me why?
You have no over direction.
No over direction, and it forces me to do what with my elevation?
Lift it up.
Thank you, Anna. It forces me to lift it. Watch this. If my combing angle is from the top going down, can you see that forces me to drop my degree of elevation? And it forces me to over direct that. So comb from underneath. Once you position your hand, I want you to take the comb, lift it. As you lift, I start to slide my hand out and I elevate it up. Once I see my guide and I'm there, cut. Okay, that line is parallel to that line. Next section. Okay, diagonal and parallel. Eliminating my excess hair out of the way. Once again, keeping it moist and spritz for control with our satin water coming through. Watch how I'll work with a combination of satin water and polishing prep. Polishing prep, I love to work with polishing prep because of the moisture it allows me to maintain as I'm cutting. Next section, keep your sections consistent. Okay, so my sections are going to be consistent all the way through. Next section, combing from underneath, underneath. So I pick, cleans the section. Underneath, position my hand, fold. Raise my left hand up till I get to my guideline, stop and cut. Please do not try to look through the section to see your guide. Last section. Pick, comb from underneath, position, raise, slide up and out. Once I see my guide, I'm there. Cut the section. Okay, opposite side. Repeating the same thing. Diagonal forward, making sure that this diagonal line is parallel to my visual line that I have behind the ear, eliminating excess hair, coming underneath, fold, look at my left hand slide up, there, when I'm in position, trust it, and cut. Okay, next section, release, diagonal forward. If you change the width of each section, what happens with the graduation? If I go fine, then I go thick, then I go fine, and I go thick, what's going to happen with the graduation? Over direction could happen. That's all in the combing. Or inconsistency in what? Weight. Thank you very much. It's going to get steppy. So you're going to start to see chunks and steppiness to it. Because one section was very fine, next one was thick, next one was fine. So you'll start to see it get steppy. Keep it consistent. Okay? Look how I comb from underneath. So I come from underneath, position my hand, slide my hand up. When I see that guide, I make my cut. Okay, next section. Slice. See how those sections are parallel to that diagonal section I have? Right behind the ear. Coming through. Underneath. Now my body position, I'm going to position my body this way so that you're able to see. In the salon, obviously, I don't think I would cut it this way. People would go, are you okay? Okay, notice I'm not thinking outside in. I'm thinking inside. Then the last thing I will do is clean up my perimeter. I think the general rule that we've been shared with is cut the perimeter first, your outline, then go in and layer. How many times have you done that and you find it gets too fine or too thin? Now you're coming back in and recutting. Remember, maximum results with minimum effort. I want you to start to think a little bit differently. Okay? Coming from underneath. Helps to elevate. Sliding out sets up my over direction. My finger angle matches that diagonal section. Now at this point, watch what I'm going to do. Tools go down. Then I'm going to take my blow dryer. So you're going to blow dry as you go. Okay, blow dryer, right down it. I just want you, the reason I want you to dry it this way. Number one, blow drying as you go. Here's why. Can you imagine this? Anything that I see that's not perfect, I now have an opportunity to tweak it and clean it. Usually when would we do that? At the end. You do it at the end. Now guess what? I'd spend 30 minutes cutting it, 5 minutes blast drying it, and then another 15, 20 minutes cleaning it up. So you see that blow drying as you go, you have a great opportunity to visually see what you need to clean up and clean up. By the way that I'm cutting this is a great way to cut a guy's hair, a man's hair. Exactly how I cut a guy underneath. I do the same approach. So you can see how this, you may think it has a masculine feel to it, but I think it can have masculine qualities to it or feminine qualities to it. Blow dryer down, blow dry down on it. Okay, there. Once I got my moisture out, I want you to stop. And now take a look at my graduation. Look at how clean my graduation looks. And I haven't done anything to my perimeter. At the end, I can square this off. I can cut a diagonal going in, whatever it is that we want to do creatively. All right, so now follow me to the board. And let's take a look at what we just did in step one. Here's your sectioning. Step one is in red for you. Okay. Elevation, horizontal. Length is on the top, shortness underneath. Diagonal. I want this diagonal as it moves to mirror that diagonal line that goes to the middle or approximately top of the ear. Notice how I am holding my hand here as I work up. So I comb from underneath, I fold that hair, we look for our guideline and we cut. Work your way up. You'll do this on the right side and you will do it on the left side. Once you've completed both sides, blow dry it. What questions do you have? What concerns do you have? All right, give me a hand up in the air. You're about to cut step one. Give me a big yes on 3. Ready, 1, 2, 3? Yes! Go get it now. Step one. Now, let's go take a look at the hands-on portion in step one. Remember, lots of learning going on. The natural habit we have, just like Susie was doing, is to do this, is to comb this like this. and slide our hand out to the guide. If I do that, Gabby, what happens is my hand gets heavy, and what am I dropping here? What's dropping? This elevation needs to be what?
It needs to be higher.
Yeah, it needs to be higher. So can you see when you do this, you have a natural tendency to over-direct and drop the elevation. Watch what Sam's going to share with you. Come from underneath, position your hand to match that line.
Okay.
Yep. Now immediately fold. Look at your guide. Can you see you started getting longer from your original guide? Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Why? Because you kept doing this. Now can you see I dropped that elevation down, and now look how much I over-directed that. Give me 5. This is great. Okay, so watch. So therefore, what I'm trying to share with Gabby, it's all in your combing. Combing is so critical when you cut the hair. It is, isn't it?
It is.
So here, because it sets up my elevation and it sets up my over direction. Look at this. Watch.
So I have all that length.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
There's your guide. That's how much length you have to take off. Left hand behind mine now. Go right behind it. There you go. Good. Now I'm going to give you your comb back, and you're going to look for that guide underneath. Comb from underneath, and immediately fold. Don't slide your hand out. Fold that hair up. Look at that. Now slide up. Gabby, you got it. Cut it. Beautiful. Looking good. Let's hear check it. All right, underneath. Coming from underneath. Now I'm going to do the same thing I was doing with Gabby. Look how much longer you got. You see that there's that guide. Look at that guide. Now, Sam, why did I get that? Watch where you cut it. I'll show you exactly where you cut it. Right there. Look how much over direction that has. Can you see that no-go?
Yes.
Now watch the difference. From underneath, look at the difference. Right there. Okay, left hand over mine. Left hand behind mine. There you go. Good. Here comes your comb. Okay, now comb from underneath. Comb from underneath. And look for your new guide. Look for that guide that you established in the beginning. Don't slide your hand out. Fold first. Fold first. Fold the hair with the comb. So watch. Comb is in here, right? Fold it. Now look at that guide. Now slide up to it. There. Now cut. You see the difference. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's amazing how we get our habits. Remember I talked to you in the beginning about your habits. The natural habit for everybody is always to comb on one side. If you're a one-sided comber, I guarantee you're going to have too much over direction. You're going to start to lose the sense of that guide. Did you learn something here, my friend?
I sure did.
It's all the mechanics, isn't it?
Definitely.
Leah, looking great. Looking really good. Okay, look at the consistency in that. You can see it. Okay, now we're going to come back through. Look at that. Nice and tight. Beautiful. Couldn't be better. Could not be better. I have to tell you, it's all about how you comb the hair, isn't it?
It's true.
And it's also about, can you see what I'm trying to share with you, is we have a natural habit to look through the section and try to see the guideline. And then we think it's there and you cut it. So what do? You keep combing it on top till you see a clean line and then you cut it, right?
Right.
Now what you've done is because you combed on top, you've dropped the elevation and you've over-directed too much. If there's one story I want to get across in step 1, it's that. It's all about the habit of the way you comb the hair. Hats off to Leah. Now you can see how combing was critical in step 1. It's also going to be critical in step 2. And by the way, the combs. Remember, my friends, we have the fine teeth of the comb and the wide teeth. The fine teeth when we're graduating hair. You have more tension and more control. The wide teeth when we're cutting one length hair as a 6-panel bob because you have less tension. Also remember, there's a little sectioning clip on the end of the comb that helps you slice to section. Lastly, 2 different colors, ivory and black. Ivory when I'm cutting dark hair and black when I'm cutting light hair. It allows me to see my finger angle. Critical, critical little things that make a big difference. Let's get back to the class. Now, that being said, let's move to step 2. Step 2, you're going to continue the same elevation, over direction, same finger angle until we get to the top of the ear. So watch what I'm about to execute here. So we're going to come through. We're going to take a diagonal slice forward. That same slice that I had back here, that same section, we're going to take that in front. And I want you to eliminate this hair that's in front. Please get this out of the way and stabilize that so that you can see this angle. When you can see that angle, it makes it so much better. So we're here. Watch how I'll do this. And I want you to talk to yourself. That little voice, it goes, this is what Sam's little voice does. pick, establish, finger angle, comb underneath, finger angle behind that, fold, slide out and slide up. When I get to my guideline, stop, make my cut. Okay, next diagonal section. Diagonal forward, same width, stay consistent. When do I stop? Top of the ear. When do I stop? Top of the ear. Excellent, great. Pick, underneath, establish the finger angle, fold, slide up, stop, cut. Now watch this. I couldn't go across because I'm going to cut into the pocket of my finger. So all I simply did was freeze. Here's what I see people do. They cut and they go like this. Time consuming. Now you have to pick, reestablish elevation, reestablish finger angle, everything. Once you're here, my friends, stay here and continue the line. Stop there. Can you see how critical consistency is today in our haircuts? Now check this next step out. Watch how we're going to graduate the hair in front of the ear. Watch, for example, next section. Diagonal forward, release what I don't need. This will be my last section because I'm at the top of the ear. So I release that. Isolate that front. Pick. Come from underneath. Hand goes there. Fold. Elevate. Slide out. Now watch what I'm going to do. I cut. My finger angle has not dropped the hair at all. I'm there. I'm in position. So now I just continue to slide underneath. Now watch my fingers move back to the top of the line. So I'm here. See how my finger just moved to the top of the line? Now I fold, and that way I can establish the same angle. Sometimes if you continue cutting this, what happens when you cut back into it, you change it and you do this. Because the pocket of your finger doesn't have the same tension it does here. So now you're getting a little top corner here. Now you get a little top heavy on that. Okay, now watch here. Now I'm going to come through, take all of this at once. Why, Sam? It's like taking paper in a paper cutter. The less paper we take and we put into a paper cutter, what happens with the line? It's very what? Straight. Very straight and even. If I take thicker amount of paper, a little bit more mass amount of paper, I slide it in the paper cutter and I close it, what happens to the paper? It slides. So the edge is what? Straight and sharp, or is it softer? Excellent. So can you see, I have a reason now why I want to take massive hair. Whereas my beliefs were skinny sections, skinny sections, skinny sections. That was then, this is now. So there's a reason why we're condensed cutting things now. Okay, Manu, please.
The last section you took, was it vertical, the last section up above the ear, or was it still slightly angled?
Slightly angled. As soon as my diagonal line hits the top of the ear, that's where I stop. So now I'm not doing this. I'm not shifting my angles so that they come vertical at this point. I want to stay on a diagonal. Why? Diagonal lines are going to give me a little bit more what here?
Softer.
A little bit more? A little bit more roundness. Okay? Vertical lines have a natural tendency to elongate and create flatness. Okay? Elongate and create flatness. Okay? Diagonal lines, they have a natural common tendency to give you a little bit more roundness. So this shape is starting to round itself out. If I take horizontal, then I start to build weight. Okay, so I want to stay on my diagonal until the diagonal forward line gets to the top of the ear. That's my cue now. I move into standing slightly behind. My guideline comes from where? That back area, right there. I lift this up, my hand comes to that, and I cut all of this. Now it's going to seem awkward taking so much hair, cutting it at once. Remember, there's a reason and a purpose for it. And the reason and the purpose is just like we talked about, putting paper in a paper cutter. So what happens is this edge automatically gets what? Soft. So I'm not taking that all in little sections. I'm taking it once. I'm going to do it again, and I want to bring in and make sure that I'm connecting to that. So I'm going to take mine tighter. Don't be afraid now. Leah, look at, here's a great opportunity. I'm cutting over my hand. See this? Great opportunity now to cut over my hand. It's a lot easier. Sam, if I wanted to, could I come in and cut this palm up? Sure you could. I could come in here, palm up, here, and do it this way if I want. Do what's most comfortable for you. As long as you're bringing everything up, so at this line, this hair is graduated vertically, 90 degrees, and it sits over this line. Once you've done that, release, and you should have length here. Okay? Now I can start to personalize this length if I wanted to. I want her to have the ability to tuck this behind the ear and maybe just bring out little pieces. So she can tuck that and just bring out little pieces out in front if she wants to. It looks a little bit shorter. Remember, versatility. Opposite side. Notice now how I've changed now, and my palm of my hand is facing up. Left-handed. My palm of my hand will be facing down on this side, Sarah. So my friends at home, remember, left side, look at my thumb. Left-handed, it's pointing right hand. On the left side is pointed down. Lefties, on the right side, my hand is pointed up. And I'm moving this way, that direction. Remember, for the sake of control. Opposite side now. Now, when you go back to step 2, remember, this has been sitting there isolated for a while. Please take your satin water, moisten down just what you are going to cut. Then I'm going to take our polishing prep. Take Redken's Clear Moisture from the Clear Moisture line. Take polishing prep and just mist it. Remember, at the same time I'm doing this, I'm setting up my blow dry. Now, when you spray polishing prep, sometimes the floor can get slippery. Do you find that sometimes? Simply take the cape, lift it, and now spray your polishing prep. So that the mist of the polishing prep goes onto the cape and not onto the floor. Okay? Excellent. Here we go now. Diagonal forward. And if you don't mind, I'm going to turn her this way, and I'll still cut the same way. Please eliminate what you don't need. Okay? Here. Comb comes from underneath. Now look at how I'm holding my comb. Do what's most comfortable for you as long as you're combing from underneath. What's the next thing I do? Fold. Excellent. And I do what? Slide and out and up. Excellent, guys. Trust it. Freeze. Reposition. Fold and look. Slide up and out. Once I'm there, I cut. Manouk, how far do I move forward here? When do I stop? Excellent. What part of the line hits the top of the ear? The bottom. Excellent. Give Manouk a round of applause there. Excellent, Manouk. Absolutely right. Okay, so it's important you understand. Once I'm going to use that top of the ear, middle of the ear as a point of reference of when I'm going to change my position of my hand and my degree of elevation. Here, underneath, fold. There it is there. Okay, next section. And this will be my last one. Diagonal forward, hits on top of the ear. Release excess hair. Now, it would be so easy for me to just slice that, comb that hair forward and leave it there. I guarantee, because you comb from underneath, you're accidentally going to start to pick up this hair. It's time consuming. Stay in control. Here, underneath, up. There's my guide. This is my last section. Now what do I do? Take the entire section. So now I'm going to come through, take the entire section. My guide comes from where? That last section up on the top. So I'm here. Everything comes up to it. For the sake of me having control, I'm going to take that length. Don't take it too short. Remember, you need some length here on this to match the opposite side. But for the sake of control, combing it, I'm going to take it all at once. There's my guide right there. Can you see my guide? Right there. So I'm going to take it, once again, Leah, over my hand. I like it here in this position because I have more control of it. Right up. The elevation is what? Just above the parting. And that elevation, if you look at it from the front view, look at it. It's straight up, vertical, 90 degrees. Watch this. Not here, not here, not there. Because if I do, then it's going to fall with more weight, and it's not going to fall with a soft edge to it. Okay, everyone clear on this? Okay. Now remember, when you come through, my elevation, it's very important you understand it's vertical. See that? It's vertical, straight up. My hand over that part, and you're going to be fine. Now, once I've completed this section, now I'm ready to do what? Tools go down and I'm going to blow dry. Blown Away is a great protective blow dry gel. Why am I applying this now? Because I'm getting longer in the front. So I want more protective. I got longer hair in the front, so I'm going to work my product. What I love about blow drying as you go, guys, you apply product as you go. You ever do a haircut, and then at the end you're applying product, and the product goes primarily where? On the top. It's very important for my friends at home, you understand where you want the hair most responsive is where you apply the product. So if I want the hair most responsive into the crown area, and I'm working with a gel, or I'm working with my, let's say I'm working with my rough clay. I'm going to come through, I'm going to take just a small amount of rough clay, and let's say I want a little bit more texture down towards the base. My product is into what part of my hand? Palm of my hand, thank you. Now look, my fingertips are getting some of that rough clay into my fingertips. Where am I massaging it down into? Into the scalp, where I might want a little bit more of a texture type of look. How do I look? So the idea is, remember, product is not an option, it's a necessity, but teaching our clients how to apply product is most important. The reason a client doesn't like a product is because of misapplication, misuse, not because of the product. Okay, now we're going to blow dry it same way we blow dried that back. And once again, working with our finishing brush. Now what I love about this is this length gives me some creativity, because afterwards I can come and take this anywhere I want. I can piece it, soften it. You can leave it heavy. Watch how I'll design mine once I'm there, once I'm done. Flat on top of it, flat. Now if I was teaching her how to blow dry it, this is exactly how I teach her to blow dry this too. Look at my graduation, guys. Look how consistent it sits. And just works its way right around the head. Okay, I do this to the opposite side also. Both sides. And once again, here it is, a different experience for the guest. I've cut the hair and then she sees me picking up a blow dry. Remember we talked about in the beginning, create an experience for them. Start to do things in a different way. And they go, their response will be, I've never seen you do this before. So now it creates a conversation. Why are you doing it? I'm doing this, Erica, excuse me, so that I'm able to see my haircut as I build it. I'm able to see the silhouette. And I can also tweak the haircut as I go. It allows me to apply product where I want product, which in this case is underneath. That's the beauty about blow drying as you go. And remember, I'm going to personalize this afterwards. Now, Sam, would you do this on natural curly hair? I'm going to ask you that question. Could you do this so far on natural curly hair? Sure you could, if you take it down to the wood. Remember, natural curly hair, just cut all the curl off underneath and then let their curl work on top of that. And so it would depend also on how curly it is. If it's more kind of a curl and a wave, or soft curl and a wave, you could still go in and do this, but it's going to require some maintenance on their part. Curly hair, you either take it off or you leave it long. There is no in between, especially when we're disconnecting natural curly hair. All right, so now our product of choice is Blown Away from the heat styling line. Remember, you're going to blow dry as you go. Let's take a look at the chart now. Follow me to the chart. You can start to see, look at the difference that we're creating there in terms of the shapes. Look how we've got that one going in a different direction now. Step 2. So you're going to continue working all the way until you get to where? Top of the ear. So once again, once this section gets to the top of the ear, from here, this is where I'll elevate that into what you see in the green area for step 2. So once I get this section to the middle of the ear, top of the ear, at that point, I'm elevating this hair. Elevation, straight up, no over direction. Don't move it side to side. What questions do you have on step 2? You ready to go get it? Yes. Come on, you ready to go get it? Yes. All right, give me another hand up in the air. Give me a big yep on 3. Ready, 1, 2, 3, yep. That was for Fresno. Now let's go see how our friends at the loft work with step 2. Remember, mass amount of hair at once. Watch this. This is such a wide area, isn't it? A wide section, and you've only got so much length in your hand. So what would you suggest, Sam? Split it in half. That way you have more control. You'll come back and get that later. Let's go here. Now look how much more control I have over that, and look at where I can see my guide right there. Okay, that's what I want you to try. You try that now. Now, where's her elevation belong?
Vertical.
Yeah, it belongs vertical, David. Absolutely right. It belongs right on top. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, good. Now I want you to recomb that section again before you move forward. And make sure you're satisfied following that guide. Okay, now stop. Look at her angle. Her angle she's cutting is going out. See that? What's going to happen to the hair here? Ah, great. Now look at the learning lesson I just gave her. Look at that comb. Put your comb here and see where that's going. You can see that. So now eventually what's going to happen, she's going to see that next section. Now what's she going to do with her angle? You're going to start to angle down because you're feeling that. Let's get it correct first. Watch this. Hot tip. See this section here? Follow it. That's all I do. So I'm here. So I'm going to take the next set of hair that I can cut in my hand. Now look at the difference of my angle compared to yours. Look at what yours is doing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want you to keep it flat and follow this curve. Do that for me. Oh, Sam, that's so short. Watch. The underneath is traveling what? Farther. It's traveling farther. It's traveling higher. So the underneath is going to get longer. It's the top we're taking short. Now freeze. Yeah, good. Okay, get here. What I want you to do. Stay in control. Look at this section. Come over here and look. Give me a slight vertical. That, girl. Get rid of what you don't need. Now comb that forward. Excellent. You see how important it is to stay in control. Wide sections, more mass of hair. So important. Okay, excellent. Now I want that palm almost flat on top of the head. So I want you, even that's way too long. Go again, watch. Look, here's your little guide right there. Look where your left hand's at, okay?
But am I taking this straight up?
Straight up. Okay, good. Now cut that. Much better. Okay, now take another vertical slice. Good, now bring that up. So you see her, how I have her, she's taking small little vertical slices and elevating each vertical slice up, rather than taking the whole entire width of the section. Okay, up you go. Excellent. Beautiful. Now let's check the elevation. What's wrong with that elevation? You tell me, Leah. Where does that elevation belong? Where do your fingers belong? They belong where? They belong where? Over what? Over the part. Now watch this. Excuse me for standing behind you. Okay, go ahead and get it. Here's what you're doing, my dear. You're out here. You need to be where? Look where I've got your hand. So now, what's that going to do to the top section? It's going to make it what? Shorter. The top is, and it's going to make the bottom what?
Longer.
Excellent. Okay, get over that section then.
Okay, so straight up.
Straight up. And follow the curve. Not diagonal up. Follow the curve. Are you getting this, guys? Mm-hmm. Follow the curve. It'll naturally give you a diagonal because of the shape of the head. Good. Perfect. Manu, question. You got a question? A thought? No go. No go. Sorry,
Yeah,
no go.
my question was, do you say follow the curve? We're following the curve of the sectioning?
Curve of the sectioning. And you'll see it automatically will go diagonal. Why? Because the top drops down. So it drops down, it's going to get slightly longer. You'll see here, watch. Excellent, good. Now look how much more control you had over that section. So are you afraid of it anymore?
No.
No, why? Tell me why. Teach me.
I'm in more control.
And why are you in more control?
Taking smaller sections.
Smaller sections, yeah. So you don't need to take it. Now look how confident she is. Look at that, she's just picking it up and combing it.
Nice.
Now, look at the length. See this? Now look at the length I have here. So by cutting this, watch what I just shared with you, what to cut. Check this out, watch this. Look at the angle she just cut in one motion. Here's what people do. Are you getting this, guys? That is much more harder to control than simply bringing it up to here and cutting it. This is a 60s layering technique. That's all it is. In beauty school, they taught me to cut a shag. 4 different parts, bring it up and cut it. All you're doing is shagging the underneath, if you will. That's all we're doing. Does that make sense, my dear? You see? That's beautiful. Now watch this. I want you to go back at it again and take it shorter. No way, Sam. Yes way. Watch. Check it out. Look at that. See her guide? So would you agree with me? She slid past it. Here's a natural tendency. Watch this. Check this out. I'm getting ready to cut. Did you see what just happened? And it's easy to happen, isn't it? Here's why. Instead of taking the scissor down to your hand, you take the hair to the scissor. Oh, what a concept. What a concept. Give it up for Leah. This was great learning here. Great learning. Now you go get it. Remember, you do both on both sides. All right, great job. Look at her right hand. See how her right hand is coming in? Watch what I'm going to encourage her to do. She's putting her wrist in a very uncomfortable position. So what I'm going to recommend that she do is you want to come in this way. But that means, excuse me, left foot forward, right foot back. Now go in and get that section. Now I'm going to even move you further back. Now go get the section. Now look how straight your arm is. You see that? Here's what you want to do.
Oh,
You feel that?
Yeah.
You feel the difference? Now watch. There. But in order for you to do this, you need to back away from the mannequin. And, excuse me, you need to open up your body. So it's important you open up your body to the section. Now watch, the hand goes in. Look how straight it goes in. Look how natural that is now. Okay, again, good. Underneath, good. Now I get close to it when I comb it. You get as close as you want when you comb it. Reposition your body now. Okay, left foot forward. Okay, left foot more forward. Good, excellent. Beautiful. Tell me how that felt.
that felt really good.
What do you notice? What do you notice that's different?
I'm not straining,
Good.
and it's definitely more comfortable working
Yes.
palm to palm.
Now, what I want you to understand is that puts a lot of pressure on your tendons. Eventually, over a period of years doing that, it can lead to carpal tunnel. So just be careful. Here, watch. People go like this and they go, but Sam, that doesn't feel comfortable. Watch this. You see what I just did?
Back.
All I did is step back, and now look how natural that is. Look at that. My arm naturally does that.
I see. Thank you.
Give me 5. Looking really good. You learned something here.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
all about how you're combing it. You're doing really good. It's looking good now.
I'm just so used to cutting precision haircuts, so it's kind of
Used to what?
precision cutting.
Used to
So,
precision cutting. So how are you feeling about cutting this way?
I love it.
What do you like? Why do you love it?
Cuts my time in half.
Yeah, it cuts your time in half.
Yeah.
Remember, people want in, they want out. Their life is too busy right now.
True.
But what I'm also suggesting to you is finding ways to give you great results. That may be a sense of a shortcut, but here's what I'm saying. If you're booked on the 45 minutes, right? Let's
By the hour.
By the hour, excellent. By the hour, that's awesome. But imagine when you throw increments of your blow dry in there. Your finishing's going to be better, and before you know it, you're going to go, you know what? I don't need to book on the hour anymore. I'm going to book on the 45. Imagine that. You're doing really good. Great job. Now that's what I call cutting some hair. Remember, just cut it. Don't be afraid of it. Let's go take a look at step 3. All right, so tell me, how'd it go on step 2? Good. What was good? What was good?
It was fun,
What was fun about it?
taking all that hair off at once.
How many of you felt the same way, taking it all at once? How many of you feel it's a little scary? Yes. Here's why. Is it something that you normally do? No. But why are we doing it? Somebody help me out. Why do we want to take it all at once?
So you get a softer line.
So you get a softer line. Excellent. Remember the analogy of the paper? So if I stand here and I take a little slice and I bring it up, and a little slice and I bring it up, and a little slice, can you see how perfect that's going to be? So it's going to be so perfect that I'm not going to have any degree of softness. Now, Sam, yes, if I wanted to, could I at least take a slice to create my what? Guide. Yes. Take a slice, create your guide, and then do what? Take it all at once. And that way you've got a guideline from A to what? I just learned something there. You see how fun this is? All right, now here we go with step 3. I'm going to give you the visual on step 3. Step 3 is going to be the blue area. Okay, so let's talk about step 3 before we actually do step 3. We're going to work with everything that sits at the top of the ear back. We're going to work what we refer to as radial sections, almost like slicing a pie or slicing a pizza. Say yes if you're with me. Yes. All right, great. Then once we got that, we're going to elevate that just like I'm cutting it straight contour to the shape of the head. Are you with me? Say yes. Yes. All right, so it's all that shape. The only thing that's going to change, instead of cutting it, you're going to just rotate it back to the center each section you take. So what that rotation is going to do, you're going to feel it slip and slide into fingers. That's actually giving it a softer edge so it falls softer over it. It's also going to make it very slicey, very spliced-like, without actually going in and doing it. We're going to work from the center, create a guide. Then we're going to start to radial. Everything will come up, and then everything rotates back into it. Now watch how we're going to do this. When you do this, I want you to comb it in its natural falling position. Take your satin water. We're going to come through, moisten. Okay? Just spritz. Don't feel like you got to get it soaking wet. Then I want you to comb it in its natural falling position. What do I mean by its natural falling position?
Where it lives.
Thank you, David, where it lives. How do you comb in natural falling position? All I'm simply going to do is comb, and now I just start to look for that little calic where everything starts to spin from. Watch. Growth pattern, growth, growth, growth. When I hit the round of the head, gravity takes over and I comb straight down. Growth, growth, growth. Where I hit the round of the head, gravity takes over, I comb straight down. Straight down. Now this opposite side. I'm just trying to find out where all this hair lives. See what I'm doing? I'm just looking. There it is. Look at that little calic I just found. Okay? So I comb from there. Growth, growth, gravity. Growth, gravity. Growth, gravity. Opposite side, same thing. You must do this. Here's what I don't want you to do. Comb it back and start cutting. Now you're putting hair in a position where it doesn't belong, and you could possibly take it too short. That's when it starts to get steppy and jumps up on you on the top. So make sure you look for it. Where's that little calic? Here's hers. There. Natural fall, as David said, where it lives. Now once I have it there, first section is going to be where? Center. What kind of section is it? Vertical, straight up and down. So I go a slice of vertical, a little bit slightly to the right and a little bit slightly to the left. Okay, now I'm going to find out where my length is. Get this hair out of the way right now. And I'm going to find out where my length is. I want this to drop longer over that. So I'm going to take mine to about right there. I visualize that length there. Then from there, work it to the shape of the head. So watch where I have. That's the length I want. I'm going to visualize that. Now can you see I've elevated this 90 degrees straight out from the head. Now I'm going to start to cut to the shape of the head. So I'm here. Did you see my hand just turned? It just turned the shape of the head. Now this will act as my guide. So this section acts as my guide. I'm going to take my next radial section. I'll see this guide. I'll comb it straight where it lives, and then I'll rotate it right back. So the comb will always stay here. Watch. That center stays there, and I just rotate. There, and rotate back to center. Watch the next section, which is my first. Looking at my length. Ooh, that's nice. Now I'm looking at my next radial section. Here's my next radial section. Everything radiates from the same point. From the same point. That's critical. Okay, once I have my section, you will elevate the hair from where it lives. So you tell me, my friends, am I elevating this from where it lives? No. What did I just do? Absolutely right. Why? Because of what? And that's a habit, isn't it? It's a habit. So what if I didn't want over direction, and I'm picking up and cutting a guy's hair, and he's a simple brush back? Now what happens is you brush his hair back, this falls forward. Why? Because it's shorter back here and longer there. All because of the way you combed it. How many of you are learning something here? Excellent, guys. Stay with me. So I'm going to comb it away from me. And then I'm going to fold and look for my guide. I come up to it. I see my guide. Now all I do is rotate my finger back to center. That will always stay the same length. It's getting longer where? At the bottom of my fingertip. Absolutely right. Now watch. I cut that to the shape of the head. But because I did what I did, watch this. See how that got longer there? Now, I'm not going to cut this up. And why don't you, Sam, why don't you just lift it up and cut that angle? Lift it up and cut that angle, because that's too sharp. Doing this throws a little bit more softer length towards the end of the section. Okay, here we go again. Radial. Up. So I pick towards me, but now I comb away from me. Sarah, for my lefties, cut the left side of the crown first, then cut the right side. Why? Because the left side is your easy side. Righties, cut the right side of the crown first, then cut the left side of the crown. Okay, so we're here, up. Now I'm looking for my guide. There's my guide. Slide up to it. As soon as I see that, I'm fine. I don't even worry about matching into that. Loosen up your mindset. Why? Because this is going to be my textured area where I want a sense of frothiness. I want a sense of volume. Okay, excuse me? Yes, of course, of course. She asked, is it going to be easy to take care of? Yes, it's going to be easy to take care of. I don't want you to feel like you have to force a lot of lift in this, Erica. It's going to happen naturally. Okay, lift. Look where my body's moved. Okay, here. Now I'm right behind her, combing away from me. I'm going to look for my guide. There's my guide. As soon as I slide up to that top, I'm fine. I'm going to rotate right back to the center. You see how that knuckle stayed pretty stationary. I didn't have to move that. Okay, release. Comb it, natural fall. All your degree of shortness should be here. Check this out. When you look at the benchmark, look how this area back here looks like it's disconnected from the front. You see that? When you change the way you do things, you get a sense of enthusiasm. That sense of enthusiasm is what they want to see every day in you when they come in. Because guess who's on stage? You are. You're on stage every day. Why? Because they look at you in the mirror. You ever have a client say, Sam, are you okay today? Why? Yes, I am. Why? What are they reading? Thank you, my body language. So now they think, oh, he's not having a good day. I don't know if I'm going to get a good haircut. It's a sense of enthusiasm. Say yes if you're with me. Yes. Awesome, guys. All right, here we go. I comb towards me now because I'm right-handed. I'm going to go left-handed for Sarah, okay? So the scissors are reversible. So there are for lefties and righties. Okay, now we come through. We're going to take a section here. Okay, my section. I comb this section up. Okay, release. And this is for Sarah, left-handed. Here, here. Now this section, I comb towards me. You see that, Sarah? I comb it towards me. I'm here. I establish. I see where I'm at. Now, is my body in the proper position? What's on the bottom? My knuckle. Where should my knuckle be? On the top. So what am I going to do as a lefty? I'm going to stand on the right side of the section. So can you see, this is my section, Sarah. Can you see I'm on the right side of that section? Now I comb away from me. Now can you see my knuckle is at the top and my finger is at the bottom, and I rotate towards me. Okay? Give our lefty a round of applause there. Okay? All right, now let's go back to righty. Okay, here, up, combing towards me. When I float up to that section, I'm looking for my guide. As soon as I see it, I don't need to be all the way out to the edge of it. I rotate right back to the center, and I cut whatever hair extends out, take that off. Next section. What kind of sections am I taking? Radial sections. They pivot from the same point of reference. Here. Okay, how am I doing? No, what happened? Can you see that can be habit really easy, can't it? Now people go, but Sam, when you spin this back, you're over-directing. Yeah, but you're missing the point. If I comb this back to this position, it's such a hard line. If I do this, and now I move it and rotate it back, this edge here is getting softer. So if I want this edge here on the tips of my fingers softer so it doesn't look like it's disconnected. Oh, this is so cool, guys. So cool. Plus, it challenges me to think differently. It challenges me to work differently. Working with the wide teeth because I had mass of hair there. Right back to center and cut. Look at that, guys. Now that looks like it's just a normal layered haircut, doesn't it? And you can just start to see how this concept of just rotating back to the center helps to give you a soft edge. And then once again, I'll tell you why. Because I'm into cutting blunt lines now. Look at that. That's what I'm looking. Look at. See that edge? Look at this. Piece that with product. Piece that. Piece that. Should have another one. There's another one. There's another one. You can see them. Look at that. See how they separate? See that? Now I'm getting more definition. And it almost looks like I could have pinched and talked into that or sliced into it. All right? Now when we're at this point, here's what you do. You take out step 4, and we will blow dry 3 and 4 together. Now, I'm going to share something with you on the blow dry this time. And we're going to start to flat iron as we go now. We're going to take our blown away. I'm going to apply. I'm going to emulsify. Even the top of my hands like it's a hand lotion. Okay? Look for that calic. So I'm going to teach her to look for her calic. She's going to go, Sam, but I want volume here. Here's what they all do. When we hear volume, here's what I always used to do. I'd start brushing this back like this, and I go like this to give them volume. That is vintage looking. Can you see what I'm doing here with this volume today? I'm letting this just spin out from the calic, and I touch it, and that's her sense of volume. Rather than it doing this, it will look very vintage and very mature-like. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. All right, so now, how are you getting that, Sam? Easy. I'm going to apply my product first. Okay? I'm looking for where her calic's at, and I'm laying this hair down with her calic. And I'm going to blow dry. I'm going to spin dry. All I'm going to do is just spin around this calic, laying it flat. I'm not going to go for volume. I'm going to let the disconnection give me the volume. Okay, so because I'm working with mass of hair and more length, I'm going to move to the flat paddle brush. And I'm just going to teach her to spin. Go one direction. She just spins it right around this calic, keeping it nice and flat, nice and flat. You can already start to see this disconnection in that crown area. Look at that. You just start to see that. I'll get more of a visual blend than I will anything else. So I'll get a visual blend out of it. Okay, now watch. I got my moisture out, majority of my moisture, not all of it, there's still some in there. Now I'm going to alternate. And I'm going to go to the oval brush. Look at the oval brush. See that? Now people ask me, why have you made it oval? Watch this. Number 1, you're going to get more sense of volume. Number 2, so you can stretch dry. Look at the small round. Perfectly round, oval. Okay? All right, now people have asked me, why have you made them different? Small, because small round allows me to get a little bit more short degree of hair, rather than going small oval. All right? Medium oval and a large oval. Why oval versus round? If I go through and I take this, and I do exactly what I've been taught over the years, and I roll, can you see this comes straight up and into the round brush? But now watch what happens. When I come through and I hit this with a blow dryer, the blow dryer blows this down, and then it starts to lift. So my lift will go kind of down, and then it lifts up. Say yes if you're with me. Yes. Okay, now watch this. We'll take the oval, and I come in horizontal with the oval. See the oval? Horizontal to the floor. I pick at the base. I go one turn, and look at the difference. Can you see the difference? Look how that has lifted that straight up. Reason number 1. Reason number 2, which I'm about to do here, Leah, is have you ever stretch dried and you stretch dry natural curly hair and you use a perfectly round symmetrical brush? This spins too easy on the hair. Watch this. Look at the mannequin stand. See that? Okay? Watch. Look at the mannequin stand, and you're spinning. So you're working your hand, working your hand, working your hand. Watch the oval. With the oval, I simply come in, I turn once. Look at the tension. You see the tension and the grab that I get. So the corners of the round of the oval grab that more. So it makes it a lot easier for me to stretch dry. Does this make sense, guys? Yeah. Now let's talk about stretch drying. Watch. I'm going to stretch dry this. But I'm going to let the oval work with me. So I come through, one turn. I can feel it. My blow dryer, see the flyaways. See the flyaways flying off the brush? I'm getting no bend on those flyaways. All I'm getting is straight hair dry. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to come through and I follow my oval all the way through. Look at that. One sweep of the hair. Hot trick. Thumb comes underneath. Now I come through, and this is how I'll stretch dry hair. Much more comfortable for me than me trying to and pull. Thumb comes through, that gives me the tension. Here, blow dryer sets in, and I do one swoop, allowing the heat to work with me. And just in one motion, I've got what I want to go for. Now look at the top. Did I blow dry that to get lift? No. All I did was just spin around. That's all I did. Sam, what if they didn't want it that short on the top? Then don't cut it that short. What would I do? Slide my hand out further. Everybody cool on this? Yes. All right, step 3 now. Let's recap it. Follow me to the board here. Okay, step 3. Remember, it is this blue area that you see here. Okay, this blue area. Radial sections from the same point of reference. Elevating straight out 90 degrees from the shape of the head. Cutting to the shape of the head. Once you have that, radial section, straight out from the head, but rotate it right back to the center. You'll work the right side and you'll work the left side, both sides. Now let's remember, in step 3, after we cut it, we're going to blow dry the entire shape. Why? Because we're going to cut step 4 dry. And don't forget, it's all about the concept of blow drying as you go. Once we blow dry, we're going to pick up our flat iron. And we're going to come in and we're going to flat iron. I want you to remember also, there's 3 key principles to flat iron. Principle number 1 is heat. That's what breaks the bonds down in the hair. Number 2 is compression. That's what actually gives me that high shine. And then number 3 is tension. That's what makes that hair so nice and straight. Yet this season, we're picking up our flat iron and a round brush working together. The reason being is because we want more bevel, more movement, and more sense of volume. Now it's real easy to do because all you're doing is replacing the comb with a round brush. And I simply flat iron as I normally might, coming in with our flat iron and just simply passing it to the round brush. You can see I can mold the movement and the sense of bevel or volume that we desire. Now, let's get back to the class and let's watch them cut step 3. So watch here. So I'm going to suggest you turn your chair like this.
Okay.
And you go here. Now that puts your body on which side of the section? On the
Right side.
right side. Excellent. So I'm here. I elevate. Okay, left hand coming underneath mine.
Okay.
Or right hand. Atta
Right hand.
girl. Okay, there you go. Excellent. Good. That's a good elevation right there. Now let's see if we like that length. Freeze.
Okay.
Okay, now let's just see. I think that's too long, don't you?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
little-
okay, so now what would you do? I drop my right hand down lower.
Just a little lower.
No, not low, don't lower the elevation. What I'm
Oh,
saying
you mean
is
down here.
Yes, exactly. Why? Because that's going to make that what?
Shorter.
Excellent.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
Okay, good. Right there. Now let's see if we like that one before you cut it. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
good.
right there. You could tell, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, now up to that point, right there, now cut. Now start to round. Immediately recomb and start to round it to the shape of the head.
Okay.
Atta girl, good. Excellent. You're doing good, Sarah. Excellent, there's that guide. Good. Excellent. Okay, now recomb again. Don't cut that. Recomb again. Go to the shape of the head. Comb. Excellent. Good. Okay, good. Now recut that section again. Just take a look at it. Make sure you're clean with it.
Okay.
You've got a nice guideline. Any excess hair that extends out, cut it. Nice guideline. Okay, beautiful. Recomb and adjust again to the shape of the head. You're doing great. Beautiful. Excellent. Take that top corner off. Excellent. Now that's your guide.
Okay.
Now let's spin on your first one. Rotate from there to there.
Okay.
Excellent. Good. Okay, now look where you took the section. Is that from the same point of reference?
No.
Excellent. Good. It's going to make a difference. You'll see.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go after that hair. Okay, pick it up, and you're going to comb it towards you. Comb it towards you so that you get it right exactly where it lives. Remember, once again, combing is critical, my friends. Combing is critical in this. Excellent. Now elevate. Now get this straight up off the head.
Okay.
There, that's better. Good. Okay, now freeze. Now freeze this knuckle right there, and I'm going to move your finger where it needs to be. You feel the hair slide down
Yes.
here? Okay, now cut. Now when I say freeze, after you cut it, I want you to freeze.
Okay.
Freeze. Okay, now watch this. Discover what you just cut. You feel it get longer and softer.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Now let's take a look at it. Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at it. Okay, let's just comb it and look at it. Now look at that. This comes from that opposite side. Look at what we just cut.
Yeah, it's totally.
Look at that.
Yeah, it looks.
Look at, see how it looks, see how that looks textured? Look at that, splicey.
Yeah, it does.
I can tell in your face you're liking it. Good job. All right, off you go. Nice guide. Very nice guide, Bo. All right, so you got your guide, my friend. Now let's take a look. Look how I massage that guide in there so I can just see how soft that sits into there. Beautiful. All right, now which side you gonna cut first? This side? Okay, let's see you do that. Okay, you go for it. You're gonna stand on the left side of the section because you're right-handed. Remember that, my friends. If you're right-handed, stand on the left side of the section when you're doing this whole rotation business. Okay, good. Now elevate that hair straight out from the head, not horizontally out. Okay, now you gotta take the entire, watch this, pause. You got your guide, right?
Yep.
The entire length of the area we're working with. Now watch my elevation. Look at the difference in my elevation. There. Now watch what I'm gonna do. You see slide? Okay, you do that. Good. Okay, good. And comb away from you on this side. Comb it one swoop on this side. On this side. You see, that pushes the hair where it belongs, right? Now that's perfect. Now watch. Now keep your knuckle there and spin this back to center. Did you feel it slide there?
Yeah.
Now cut that edge. When I say freeze, freeze. Good, Bo, doing good. Excellent, beautiful. Now freeze. And get this piece of hair. Excellent, now freeze. Follow it. Did you just feel that?
Yeah.
You feel it get soft and long.
pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Now let's look at this piece. Look how floatable and pliable that piece is. Now let's just comb it down in. Now look at that. Look how soft that is. Now this should be splicey. Splicey, splicey, look at that. Sweet. All right, you're off, my friend. Now you got it. You keep going.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I love it.
Check it out, Jean-Marc. Look at that. Now see how you cannot tell that's disconnected. Look at that, my friends. Give me 5. You did a great job on
Thank
this.
you.
Look at that now.
Thank you.
Look at the degree of shortness that's flowing around that. Look at that. That's looking great. Can you see what I'm talking about? How they can get that frothy?
Right.
Just beautiful job you did. Like, look at this one, guys. See, it doesn't look like it's disconnected. Now watch. Look at the disconnection. But see how commercial that is? So now you have a way you can fool the clients. You
And
know?
I think this would be really good for people with really thick hair too. You know what I
Beautiful
mean?
for thick hair.
Yeah.
Beautiful for that thick hair that has a lot of bulk back there. Now watch this. Look at how you can adjust the silhouette just by pushing with your hands. That's what I love about disconnection today. You can change the silhouette. Look at that. Now she's got more. She said, I want more lift here. Okay, I want it flat. That's so, Leah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for embracing the whole element of disconnection. I know you love for everything to be so precise, so you're enjoying yourself and learning something.
Absolutely. It's
Awesome.
good to step out of the box.
Good.
Yeah, definitely
for
is.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I'm loving blow drying as you go. Maximum results with minimum effort. Did you see how critical that blow dry was? Let's go take a look and see how the last step is executed, step 4. All right, so let's talk about step 3. How to go on step 3? Good. Wasn't easy, was it? No. Well, talk to me. What was difficult about it? Let's talk about it out loud. What was difficult?
Twist.
Bo, talk to me. What was difficult about it?
I just couldn't find the right kind of position where I felt comfortable with, like, you know, first angling it and then twisting it to where you can feel that shift that you talk about.
Right.
I wasn't really able to do that until you showed me how to do that. So that was the hardest part for me.
Okay, now once after I showed you, what started to work? What made the difference after I shared it with you?
I think my body position.
Okay.
Yeah, body and then the combing. I was combing towards me. I was supposed to comb away from me,
Yes?
and that's pretty much what it was. And then I pulled it up and then just, you know.
Okay, let's
Right
talk
back to
about that. Watch this. All right, thank you for that, Bo. All right, watch. First of all, I take my section. Okay, now I'm gonna lift my section up. Now look at my finger angle. Take a look at that. No go, see that? All right. Now watch this. From there, all I'm doing is that. That's all I'm doing. Watch again. Here to there. Now watch my fingertip. See that? That's all I'm doing. Right back to center. From there to center. Can you see how the hair disappeared there? So it gets what? Longer. And it gets softer as it falls. So it gets longer and softer. Now, could I, Sam, hold it like this and then twist back to me? Sure you could. If that's easier, you could do that. Palm up. I find it easier for me, palm down and doing it this way. Doing it this way. So now let's take a look at this. If I take this comb, put that in the center, and I come through and I take a section here and I lift this section up, okay? Now watch this. All I do is pivot around that comb. So this is the apex and everything turns with that. So it's like a bicycle spoke. And all I do is that. Watch this elbow. It stays there. And let's say center is here. Did you see that? Okay, watch this. This would be incorrect. You see the difference? That's twisting the whole entire hand. This is my knuckle. Here's my fingertips. It's all we're doing. Does that make sense, guys? Now, why are we doing that?
To create softness.
To create a softness, to create that soft edge. Remember, if I just bring it up and cut, then it's going to fall too hard or it could fall too long. Everybody cool with that? All right, permission to move on to step 4.
Yes.
All right, now here we go. Step 4. Now, I'm going to take horizontal sections. Let's take a look at step 4. Here's step 3. Step 4. On step 4, you're going to take horizontal sections across that. The objective is to get a point that comes into the center. So we want to create a point that does this. So we're going to actually cut it on what we call the bias, cutting it on the bias. We're cutting it on the diagonal, on a triangle. Okay? And here's how we're doing it. I'm going to stand behind her. I'm going to take a horizontal section. My comb's going to come in, horizontal. Then I'm going to turn my comb to diagonal, and I'm going to point cut that. The shorter I want the front, the more my hand will move forward. In the drawing here, I have it over-directed to a stationary guide. Why? So that I save all my length. Then I can come in and take off what I want. Now watch. We're going to come through, take a horizontal section. I'm going to ask that you work with the wide teeth of the comb because it's a massive amount of hair and it's dry now. Okay? Can you see my guide? Okay, so I bring my comb up to that guide, and Leah, I'm going to ask that you take it all at once. Because you're going to pinch the hair together, you're going to gather it all together, and that's going to give you some texture. Okay? Then from here, once I'm here, my hand and my comb stay glued together. And all I do is turn my hand vertical, turn the comb vertical, my hand follows it. Can you see now my hand is pointing right over that section that we had as a teardrop. I want you to come through, and the reason you had you dry it, can you see now you can soften the edge a lot easier because you can see it when it's dry. When it's wet, the hair is more gathered together, it's going to get too chunky. So that's why I like drawing the last step in my haircuts. That way I know this is the area where it's going to be most visible, the top, and that's the area where I want it most soft. So I'm going to suggest that you blow dry those when you're going in and point cutting. So you can control the degree of softness that you want on the edge. Horizontal section coming across. Next horizontal section. Comb it all one direction. Now I slice horizontal. Comb it back to me. Okay? Comb from behind. Place my hand underneath my comb. There's my guide. Ignore what you just did. And now what do? Turn vertical. There. Fingertip is over. Look, if you fold, look how I fold. I can see my little textured edge there. And I stay right with it. Okay, next section. Last section. Back to me. Back to me. Hand underneath. Glue them together. Turn vertical. And look for your guesstimated guide. See that? And I'm going to chunk to that. Now I'm going to soften without taking the halo of length off. Notice how I curved my hands. Everybody hold your left hand up. Hold it up like this. Sarah, hold your right hand up. Okay? Now just make a fist. Now you're in a fanned position. So I fan the hair. That's going to allow me to get it a lot softer. Now what am I going to do? I got to do the opposite side. So all you do is turn your chair. You stay same place. Turn your chair. Now I comb it the opposite way. So I'm always combing it. Now I comb it the opposite direction. Now watch my fingertips. Here. You disregard what you've done. Here. Look for your guide. Position your hand. Now my comb comes underneath that. What do? I turn vertical. The direction your fingertips are pointing is the way that you turn vertical. Now, don't worry about how much you cut. Just come in, chunk it, fan, soften. Now watch what that just gave me. That's giving me a peak of length in the center. That's what I'm looking for. Go horizontal again. Comb back and away from me. Horizontal to vertical in the direction my fingertips are pointing. Okay, next section. Up, away from me, hand horizontal, vertical, point cut. Okay, and release. Question, please.
I was wondering if you could actually just take that whole bunch and then go to the side and then do it, you know, like how we did this. I just pull it all in one bunch and then fan it over. And then do it, and then pull it up and fan it over.
What would be the what are we doing right now, or what? Point cutting. Good, excellent. Now, would you agree that the more mass of hair I hold in my hand when I point cut, chances are I might get
too blunt
and chunky. So I want it soft. Can you see I want this soft? Why? Because I want this to be somewhat pliable. You see that? And I want it to have, this should have the idea, because there's a point in the center, it should go left to right, right to left. Okay, cool. Thank you, Carrie. My suggestion would be take it section by section, not a mass amount of hair, especially when you texturize. It's going to get too chunky. Okay? Give her a round of applause for the question. Thank you very much, Carrie. Okay, Carolyn, you had a question.
Did you over direct each section all the way back to your guide?
Did I over direct everything all the way back? Yes, I did. Yeah. Why? Maintain the length in the front. Thank you very much, Lori. So it helped me to maintain the length in the front. If it's too long, what do I go back and do?
Start from and take it closer to the front.
Back to the previous section. So I don't over direct to a stationary guide. I go 2 to 1, 3 to 2, 4 to 3. So you alternate it. Remember, there's 3 principles of hair cutting. Elevation, up and down, over direction, side to side, and your finger angle, in and out. The way you adjust these movements affects your silhouette. It affects your shape. It affects lengths in certain areas. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to start to tweak mine. Okay, so I'm going to carve out what I want, and I'm using the blender, because the blender will keep it soft and a little bit more pliable. Now I'm going to make this soft. So I'm going to take this area here. I'm going to lift this. Okay, and I'm going to come through, close, backstroke, open, close, backstroke, open, close, backstroke. Now let's see how soft that made that. That should start making that soft. Okay, look what I'm getting. See that? Now I'm going to start to work on my front and lighten up my front. So I'm going to come through here, take a diagonal section, bring it over to me, take the blunt scissor. When I want the hair to go under, the blunt blade is on the bottom. When I want the hair to flip up, the blunt blade goes on top. Now the blender I've made for you, it's reversible. So it can reverse. So I'm going to take the blunt blade on the bottom, in this particular case, only because I'm going to weave it. So I'm here. I don't want to take out that mass of hair. So I'm going to weave out what I want to take out. Close, open, backstroke. Open, backstroke. I'm going to punch some of the length out. Now watch the difference, guys. When I comb this out, now watch how soft that's starting to get. Okay? Now I'm starting to personalize it. Getting it to do what I want it to do. Okay? Excellent. Okay, let's take another section. And I'm going to start to make mine move from short to long. So I'm going to come in, weave. I'm going to weave it heavier. Open, close, backstroke, open, close, backstroke. This is going to release some length. Let's see where I'm at. Watch the fringe now start to develop. Just starts to get lighter. Okay, let's start to look at the pliability of that. See it? Okay, I'm liking that. I want to make it even lighter. So you keep working it until you feel that you've got it. Now, Sam, what if it couldn't handle a blender? Let's say it couldn't handle a blender. What could you do?
Razor?
Yeah, I could use a razor. Okay. What else could I do? What if it couldn't handle a razor? Yeah, I could slice it. You could go in and slice it. I could go in, pinch and talk it. Whatever you want to do is what you're going to do now. Now I'm starting to like it. Look at the proportion of it and how it's working now. Okay, let's come to the opposite side. Now I'm going to take it this direction. Remember, I want this to go both directions. I'm going to soften this area out. Blender on the bottom. See that? And now I'm going to come through. Take out what I don't want. Okay, I like that there. Okay, now I'm going to take her this way. So whichever way she decides to take it, she's going to have control of it. So here, weave, punch, another section, over to me, weave, punch. Okay, now let's start to see what I've got. Okay, liking that way, this way, there. Oh, I'm liking that where I'm at. Okay, I'm going to take some of this here, work my scissor in there, take some weight out right there, just to soften that. Good, like that. And then in the back, if I start to see I've got any kind of, that's my separation. Okay, look at the pieces, look at that. Okay, see those pieces? That's what I want, guys. That's because I want her to run her hands through it and get that, kind of like a raking kind of feel to it. All right. Now, let's really go in and create it more chewed. Now, I'm just going to start to change mine. Watch. And you can change yours any way you want. I'm just going to make it really chewed. Okay. So I'm going to let you create what you want to create in your fringe area there. Now, that should be more box. I should still have my boxy shape to it. Okay. That. And at this point, it's all up to your creativity. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. All right, so remember, blender. Step 4, horizontal sections, hand underneath, vertical with the comb. Up, vertical with the comb. Everything over directed to a stationary guide. Then I want you to take your blender and start just personalizing it. In the front area, soften out what you want and soften out what you want in the fringe. Give me 2 hands up. This is the last step. Step 4. Give me a big yes on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes! Go get it. Step 4. Good job, guys. Last step. Now we're home free, my friends. Step 4. Did you see the importance of your finger angle and your comb working together from horizontal to vertical? Let's take a look and see how our friends from the loft do on step 4. Beautiful. Okay. Pick it up. All together at once now, from a horizontal to a vertical. Okay, good. Now there it is, right there. Now shift to vertical. Good, right there. Take it. Excellent, Rick. Beautiful. Okay, now soften all that out. Soften that out so it's not so chunky looking. Make it look like it was cut with a razor. Got lots of work to do. Keep going. Don't take the length out. There, that's looking better. That area looks good. Look at that area. Ah, you took the length off there. That was because of the angle of your blade. Okay? Now you got that. Leave it alone. Remember, there's margin for error here. Remember, the angle of the scissor, what's so cool about this is you have to remember, the angle of the scissor affects the length that you take off. So if I'm point cutting and I go diagonal with my scissor, I'm going to lose the length. So if I want to maintain the length, I need to stay parallel with the hair. So I'm taking the weight out, weight out, weight out. I'm not taking the length. Okay, now remember that. Here we go now. Okay, horizontal. And shift to vertical. Excellent, Rick. You got that down. Now let's work on your point cutting. Good. Excellent. Chunking it out now. Chunk it out on the diagonal. Okay, good. Excellent. Get that excess hair back here. Okay, now, soften. without releasing the length. Stay parallel with the hair. Now fan it. Good. The reason you fan is so you can see how much weight you're taking out. If you keep it, don't fan it, it's going to look like it's really bulky and you're going to want to take a lot more weight out than you actually need to. Okay? You're doing great. Okay. Stay with it. All right, guys. Check out Carrie's. Look at how she's personalizing this. Loving it, okay? Look at her front. Okay, start working on your front now. What do you want to get on your front area now? Look at her top. Look at that top get frothy. Look how that top, eyes here, look how that top automatically looks like it's disconnected. Good job, looking good. Keep going after it. All right, we just completed the last step on the V. Let's take a look and see how we might personalize the haircut. And we'll see the finished look. Coming up is the awesome Redken colorist, George Garcia. All right, let's talk about step 4. What happened in step 4? How'd it go? Good. Well, were there any difficulties in it? No. It's pretty simple. Here's the one thing I want to stress. That left hand needs to start low. The holding hand. The hand that holds the hair, whether you're left-handed or whether you're right-handed. The comb leads you to that vertical position. That is so important, because if you don't, here's what's going to happen, guys. You're not going to get the true point in the center. Because if I go here like this, can you see I'm starting to knock the point off in the center? So by this coming over here, the hair travels way over to this position. You cut this line, point cut into that, then it travels over to this position. When you bring it back up, you're getting a very textured point in the center. That's the concept of swinging it to one side, swinging it to the opposite side. Cool? All right. Here's what I want you to do. If you would be so kind, please hold your mannequins up high and proud. Okay, face them this way. Excellent, great. All right. Look around the room. Stop admiring yours. Admire everyone else's. Look around the room. All right, turn her where she's facing Fulton Mall. So she's facing towards the window. You're facing this way. Now look around the room. Look at the same directions everybody got. Look at the variations of length. Look how they personalized it. Okay, face her so she faces the reception area. Face her that way. Front row, turn around, look at the backs. Back row, look at the fronts. Look at the front views. Look at the textures. All right, now, do this, swing. Don't get the hair in your eyes. And that top should be swinging, should be floatable. Now tilt her upside down, and you should see your pattern. You should see the texture inside. Okay, now when you tilt her upside down, notice the length that you got in this area. Excellent. Mannequin side back up, and mannequins down at your lap. All right, so share with me, what did you discover? Let's share with each other. What did you discover?
A good pattern.
A pattern. How many of you discovered a pattern that you could use? Awesome, great. How are you going to use it, Carrie, just out of curiosity?
Well, actually, I was talking to Sarah about it, and we were thinking it would be even cool to use this sort of idea on long hair, you know, and just make it shaggy on top and have the thick, heavy bang, you know, so it gives you all these options and ideas to go further with it.
Let me ask you this. Step 4 alone. Can you imagine doing that on long hair? Just step 4 up here. And I would take maybe the crown and the whole top area. Take a horseshoe and do that to the top horseshoe on step 4. So you get these girls with this long hair able to shift their hair from one side to the other opposite side. Okay? Give Carrie a round of applause on that. Great job, Carrie. All right, give me another observation. Another observation. What did you discover today? What did you discover today, Anna?
Discipline and the importance of following the pattern and using your comb and positioning your hands the right way.
Excellent. How many of you discovered that the way you're moving your hands, the way you're holding your hands, and once again, the pattern. Let's take an example for the pattern again. Okay? How important was this on the sides? Yeah. Very important. Was that critical or what?
Yes. Yes.
Now, could you use that on guys?
Yes.
Yes. Could you use that on your existing graduated bobs? Yes. You bet you could. So you could use that on your graduated bobs. That's going to help you to get consistency on left to right. Because here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to cut with no point of reference a graduated bob here. By simply creating that diagonal line to the ear, that helps you set up your finger angle and your finger position and be consistent with it on both sides. Awesome. Give it up for Anna. Great job, man. Thank you. All right, so now, I really believe that it's the marriage of a cut and a color that makes it work. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
All right, and here we are at the loft. What better place to be than with George Garcia, one of the top colorists in the world. And let's see what George Garcia did to this haircut to give it a complete marriage of a cut and color. Put your hands together for George Garcia.
All right, crew.
Woo,
Great
George.
job, man. Your guys' heads look great. Man. What do you guys think?
Awesome.
Yeah, right on. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the really strong trends that we're seeing in hair color. I was standing in the back just listening to Sam, all the trends that he's talking about, and it's amazing because those same trends are affecting everything that we do with hair color right now. Things like asymmetry, disconnection, texture. We're seeing tons of texture in how we finish hair and how you're actually cutting hair. And so the cool thing about hair color is all those same things are delegating what we do also. So just to kind of talk a little bit about that, the first one I want to talk about is asymmetry. And how many of you have heard that term at least once today, right? Okay, cool. So asymmetry is probably the strongest trend that we're seeing in hair color right now, and that's delegating our placement. How many of you have actually worn an asymmetrical haircut like back in the 80s? Yeah? All right, cool, my people right here. So if you think back, think Cyndi Lauper, if you think about asymmetry when you're talking about styles like Cyndi Lauper, it was like shaved, and then it transitioned and it was like really, really long. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Absolutely no balance whatsoever. That trend was a pure form trend in the 80s, and now what we're seeing is that trend is completely being revisited, which is really cool. But it's a little bit different. Now you still have asymmetry, but if you look at your shapes, take a look at your shapes. Would you not agree that there's balance there? Yeah, so when we're talking about hair color, we're not just placing hair color in just for the sake of being asymmetrical. We're actually placing hair color in asymmetrically, but still have visual balance. So there has to be some type of visual balance. Would you not agree? You could tell that this is asymmetrically placed, the hair color is asymmetrically placed, right? Mm-hmm. But would you not also agree that there's balance there? Yes. Okay, so that's how the pure form trend is being revisited now. Now I'm all about like easy hair color, right? This color here, 3 colors, 3 sections, no foils. So you can actually create different textures and different movements by the sections that you're taking within asymmetrical block sections that you're taking within your design. Okay? So, and then also I want to talk a little bit about color palettes that we're seeing. If you look at this shape here, you're seeing cool base colors, warm base colors, and then hair colors that are in between. What we were seeing about 5-6 years ago was like everything blended. Remember that? We would go through and we'd do highlights and we'd do like a light, a medium, and then we'd put like a shades over the whole thing and blend it all together. Remember we did that? Okay, cool. After this, we're having a Blenders Anonymous meeting. My name is George and I'm a blender. So what we're going to be doing, what I'm talking about is like that whole blending is now kind of passé. What we're seeing now in fashion, we're seeing lots of different color palettes all within the same outfit. You'll see models walk down a runway with a pink bag, yellow belt, and a blue top. Everything, all the color palettes are contrasting. All the color palettes are wide open in hair color right now. Just think about, even just with Redken, we're seeing, we just saw the launch of metallic lamps, which are ultra, ultra cool. And right before that, they just launched the mosaic coppers, ultra warm. Now we're seeing those mahogany colors. We're seeing the mahogany glams, those colors that are really, really deep, rich browns, but they have a really ultra cool, fine finish on them. And so you're seeing everything in hair color, which is really, really good time for us to be hair colorists. So yeah, so those are the color palettes that we chose. And then let me show you the section that we have here and why we chose the sections. Okay, so the first section that we're looking at here would be this back section here. Does that look familiar to you guys? Yeah, almost exactly the same section that you guys took with your design. The only difference is that we incorporated this fringe area. Why do you think we incorporated that fringe area if you look at that mannequin?
To make it show.
To make what show?
The light over the dark. So
Beautiful. So what we did here is we set up the perimeter. So which is a really good example here of setting up your perimeter. We knew a lot of the disconnection and texture was going to go on in through this top area. So in order for us to really be able to see that, what we've done is we've gone through and we've taken a nice section that's going to set up our perimeter. Okay, just kind of set up a darker perimeter so that you actually see all the detail in your disconnection. So we start off, our section is right here over the right corner eye at the hairline, walking all the way through the fringe area here. Can you see this line, kind of how it mocks that area? Why do you think this section kind of mocks the hairline?
So that you get enough hair in your sectioning?
Beautiful, yeah, so you get enough hair there, right? You need, by looking at this shape here, if you look at the amount of hair here, if I took a very, very fine, small section, would you not agree, we may not have enough darker color to set up that perimeter. Nice, great job. All right, so yes, so we're getting a nice amount of hair color to set up our perimeter, but why do you think instead of doing an arc section, I actually mock the hairline? Carrie?
So it's even?
Nice. So we have a nice even distribution of color through that area. Okay, so that's why we kind of mock the hairline. Just think about your sections. Whenever you're looking at your sections, think about what effect they're going to give you. If I took an arc section here, what do you think that effect is going to be with that in that area? Just think about the distributions. Yes.
It'll be thicker right in the center since the headline is, we got more hair going on in the very front line.
Very good. So when you're talking about an arc section, it's wider to the middle, so you're going to get a heavier distribution of color, and it's going to taper off into lighter distributions on the outside. Great. So just start thinking about when you start making your asymmetrical block sections, what effect are they going to have? And where are the distributions going to be? Are they going to be light distributions? Are they going to be heavy distributions? And if you take those things in consideration, you're always going to get the effect that you're looking for. So we're starting off here. We're going to mock the hairline. We're going to roll right along the, going right into the section that you guys took, your arc sections that went back right below the occipital. And you can see it kind of rocks back to the right at the top of the occipital here. Kind of comes back and rounds out here. Sammy, when you guys took your section, they were more blocked off, right? So here, ours are just a little bit rounder so that the effect is somewhat softer. Whenever you work with hard lines, especially with hair color, we may have the tendency of like getting a hard effect. So whenever you work with soft, smooth lines, usually get the distributions are much softer. Okay, so you're going to come through this area here. Product of choice that we use for this whole technique. We started off with using up to 7. Sam gave me the mannequin before we started, and he said, okay, I'm thinking blonde. And I was like, cool, let's go blonde. And when we started working with the mannequin, it started moving really fast in the beginning, and then it kind of petered out towards the end. Remember, you've all experienced that, right, in the salon? It's like, yeah, you're not getting to blonde. So we decided to go right instead of left. So when we went through and started talking about colors, once we started lifting her up, you know, once you start getting into that orange stage and we started getting a little bit, the hair starts to break down a little bit. So what we started to use was Shades EQ, because as soon as you use Shades EQ, even on compromised hair, the hair looks incredible. So we decided to use Shades EQ in this first section that we took here, this red section here, which is this top section that you're seeing here. We decided to use, and we lifted her up to about a level 7, a level 8, which is a lot of gold. So we decided to work with that gold, utilizing 08C, which is a copper-based blonde at a level 8. So we took that warm base blonde and just made it more of a copper blonde. Okay, so that was this center section here. Then the interior, where we were setting up our perimeter, this blue section here, we wanted to set up the perimeter throughout the whole shape. So we went with a deeper color and more on the cooler side. So in that area there, we chose to use 06RB, which is a red base brown at a level 6, but a cool base red. So when we're talking about contrasting tones, cool base to set up our perimeter, and now we're working into more warmer shades. So in through this area here, we decided to use 6RB. Now we have our last section here, and all that is a subsection of our first section. So using the points of reference, same point of reference starting off here at the hairline above the outer right corner, and just went to the high point, rounded it off, and came straight back as if we were going to the same point of reference on the other side, but stopped it because we have a section going on here. Okay, so just more of like a rounded triangle. Now, we stopped at the high point here. Why do you think I stopped at the high point? Okay, Jamar.
Because if you took it too far back, then that light part would be filtering into the back, which you don't want that. You want more of it falling more towards the front, therefore enhancing the disconnection.
Beautiful, man. That's a perfect example of, if you look at the mannequin head, can you see how that lighter blonde lives towards the front there? Okay, so change of direction, guys, is huge in hair color. Always think about your changes of direction. The high point of the head is because I stayed in front of the high point of the head. This is where the color is going to be where the distribution is going to live. If you go past the high point, you're moving into a different area. Now, so moving into this top part, the reason we stop at the high point is because we wanted this lighter color here, which is just the pre-lightened color. The formula in this area here was 8WG, equal parts 8WG in shades EQ, and 9GB. So just a nice, smooth, but warm-based blonde at a level 8. Okay, so that's the formula there. But what I want to give you, what I really want to show you is literally see how that copper color melts right into that blonde color, and then this blonde color just immediately takes over. Okay, so those are the sections, and these are the formulas for this type of shape. So these are the colors and these are shapes. You guys like it?
Yes. Yeah. Give it up for George Garcia. Stay here. Okay, first of all, George, I really want to thank you for allowing the Inspire Tour to come into the loft. What a great day. Did we have a great day? Yes. All right, did everybody learn? Yes. Did you enjoy George's presentation? Yes. All right, and for my friends out there, do me a favor. Anytime you know George Garcia is coming into your area, make sure you check him out. I guarantee, matter of fact, I promise you, you're going to learn something, as you can see from this. All right, so we're getting ready to celebrate. So George, if you'd be so kind, I want you to grab your color mannequins. Everybody grab your mannequins. Please stand, come into here. We're going to do hands in the middle here with our mannequins.
Heads in the middle.
Heads in the middle. Heads in the middle. Guys, it's been a great day. Had a great time with you. But remember, do one thing for me. Just cut the darn thing. It's only hair. So on the count of 3, let's celebrate. Great day. Can't thank you enough. The Loft on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The Loft!